Okay, I got some really great news for you, Dungeon and Dragon fans. I will be hosting a new campaign on my live stream channel. That is V Livestream. Just type that into your YouTube search bar, and there I'll be. And I will be playing with Sargon of Akkad, Arch Warhammer, Short Fat Otaku, big YouTuber names. I'm pretty sure you guys already know them, and two other friends of mine, Crow, as well as Kyle. And an ex Blizzard developer is going to do the art style, which already just looks unbelievably good. He's going to draw the NPCs. You can find him on Twitter at Thatia. And yeah, I mean, the story, I think it's going to be really interesting. I'm going for some mystery horror with a couple of comedic elements here and there. And I'm trying to gather inspiration from Lovecraft. The story is about a mist that suddenly surrounds an entire city, and anyone that goes into the mist either never comes back or returns possessed. So they have no idea what's outside, they have no idea if there's any other human settlement that exists in the world. The only thing keeping the mist at bay is the church that rings a bell, and every day it pushes the mist further, and then the mist starts encroaching again. And because of that, the church has a lot of power in society, turning it into a theocracy. I tried to get this campaign started a couple of times, but I never managed to go all the way with it. So hopefully now we're going to be able to play a little bit more. I got some really nice plot hooks and some really great twists. I'm going to be the one that's the GM. And yeah, I mean, hopefully we're going to have a lot of fun and you guys are going to be able to enjoy it. Now, what's interesting is that I've been talking to the ex-Blizzard guy, and we were talking about how being a game developer that's doing art is very difficult right now because of all the censorship. So I'm just gonna play you guys a little bit of recording, see how he draws. He's also a big fan of Ethan Van Sciver, but I guess like because he's got like a low presence, Uncle Ethan doesn't notice him. Hopefully, I'll get these two people together once in a stream because I think they have really good chemistry and they will kick it off. But anyway, without further ado, watch the clip that I recorded and have fun. No, here's the thing, okay?
A hot homeless chick. This is what she would
Yeah,
look like.
like scroll a bit back, right? Because this really pisses me off, and I want to have a conversation. Like, there's so much detail you put into this character which you made for Devo, for Dungeons and Dragons, right? And you created this girl, and she's like drool coming out of her mouth, and as you pointed out, like go through the details that are there.
Well, yeah, okay, so she's got like, open wounds on her that aren't tended to. She's kind of just drools on herself because she never had a family to tell her, hey, you gotta quit drooling because I see my kids drooling all the time. I tell them to stop drooling. So I tell them what's going on and they know why to stop doing that. But she didn't have that kind of care. So same thing with like her posture, right? I said, well, what if a girl with huge chest grew up in the wild? She would have a slump to her back. She would kind of be hunched. She would pull her shoulders up. She wouldn't know, she wouldn't have that training from a mother to tell her, straighten your back, push your chest out in order to like compensate for that weight. There's just like stupid little details like that. And same thing with like I was going to have more chicken feathers kind of like just kind of strewn about her. Like she just got crazy in the chicken coop and started ripping chickens apart because she was hungry or something. Like she doesn't know how to cook food or anything like that. So if she sees birds in a cage, she's just going to grab one and just start tearing into it because it's like it's already trapped for her. She doesn't have to go try to catch it. So she has like random feathers, just a string pulled through her cloth because she sees other people wearing clothes. So she tried to make her own, in that sense. But she probably didn't start doing that till she got older because she didn't care about trying to fit in. But she's naturally getting curious about society and looking at other people with this kind of curious feral gaze of like an animal almost.
Yeah, you know what really annoys me because you put
Armpit hair too, by the way.
No, but like there is so much detail put into this, and obviously so much love. And if you were to show this to a person on Reset Era, or like some social justice activists would be like, "Oh, you're sexualizing women," and that's it. Like that's their limit. That is like what they're capable of criticizing. That is so annoying and infuriating.
Well, but don't you think that makes sense if you're somebody that's probably got a lot of hang-ups when it comes to sex or the fair sex or whatever, or sexuality? They tend to focus on that. That's like the first thing that pops out to them. I know that when I see somebody doing something that I know I'm myself guilty of or I have problems with in my own life, those are the things I pop towards, right? That I'll pop off or get more frustrated about something like that happening. It's kind of the one does protest too much kind of.
Yeah, but like
They don't think about things like an artist does, right? Like why I put drool. They wouldn't even see that drool. They would just see cleavage and they'd be like, that's it. This guy's got to go.
It's not only that, like, oh my god, like look how disgusting, it's like wounds on her cleavage and blah blah blah, but it's like when you go into detail and you put on like all the things that are happening there. And I think like Devil's Specifications were a character that grew up in the wild without the family, and she's like a homeless person, like really poor. And yeah, you made a really good point, and unkept hair and all of that. It's great, man. It's great.
She's still pretty, and she's young or whatever. I was going for probably a late teens, early 20s kind of look to the character. But, with all the stains and scars on her lip and, just you can sense how bad she smells through the picture, that she's all just dirty and stuff like that. She's just covered in road grime and filth, stuff like that.
Yeah. Can you show Arch's character a little bit?
Arch's character.
Yeah, so what did Arch ask for?
He wanted somebody. He gave me a really good reference to this look on this guy's face of an old guy who kind of looks like he's just tired of all the bullshit and doesn't really care that much about what anybody has to say or think or anything like that. He's just kind of just tired, and he just wants to do his thing and just don't get in his way, like, or he's gonna pop off, or he's gonna say something really not nice to you or whatever. He really just doesn't give a crap about you or anybody that he's looking at. So I was trying to capture a little bit of that because that was all I got as far as personality from that, and there was no real image in the reference telling me what he looked like, except that he had this cool chain that was hanging. That's part of a part of a storyline for him that I don't want to get into because I think he wanted to keep that under wraps.
Yeah.
But the idea is that you can't really see anything. He kind of covers up everything about him, so you see he's very heavily wrapped, even though it might not be that cold. He's very shielded. He kind of covers himself. So I was thinking of everything looks very tucked in and pulled together around everything, even covering half of his face with his beard and even his lower lip. Most people, you would see their lip in there. But I wanted to make it look like this guy's trying to cover something about himself, or as much of himself as he can, shroud himself. And so that's where I got that from, that little note that he brought in about the chain. Now he's hiding, kind of in a way. Is
that an earring or
kind of mentality I had there? Yeah, I have a little earring in there. I don't know. It's just something from the road when he was a younger kid. Made some mistakes. I did the same thing. I have a stupid pierced ear. From when I was running around as a young lad.
He looks very well kept as well. Like now that you pointed out, like the beard and all of that make it look like everything happens inside. Like there's not much going outside, not a lot of emotion. But he does have like this air of composure that there are interesting things happening that he's not sharing with other people.
Yeah, and like same thing in that vacant kind of expression in his eyes, but the lines on his face could tell like a million stories. Like he's really seen a lot of stuff in his life.
Yeah,
that's
really
kind of where I was going with him.
Yeah, so guys, if you like his stuff, go on Twitter at Thaita. You're going to find a lot of cool art. and he has a project. He's making a video game, and if you're interested, let him know how you feel.